Welcome to Unspoken Affairs. I wasn't supposed to be there that evening. It's what I keep telling myself whenever I think back to how everything began. How one mistake, one wrong turn of a doorknob changed everything I thought I knew about. Right and wrong, loyalty and betrayal, family and desire. It started in the most ordinary way, with me tired after a long day. Wandering into a house that didn't feel like mine anymore, yet still held so many pieces of me. My best friend's house, or more accurately, my second home for as long as I could remember. I grew up there almost as much as I did in my own house. Sleepovers, birthday parties, family dinners, lazy weekends, sprawled across the living room couch with my best friend, Anna. Her parents had always been like a second set of parents to me. They fed me, scolded me, loved me in their own ways. Her mom fussed over my grades and her dad. Her dad had always been the quieter presence, the one who let the house spin around him while he stayed, calm and steady at the center. And that's where my story really begins. With him, that night I walked in without knocking, the way I always had since we were kids. My shoes clattered against the wooden floor, and the familiar smell of cinnamon and old wood hit me instantly. Anna wasn't home. I knew that. She had texted earlier saying she'd be out with friends until late. But I needed to pick up a book I'd left behind the night before. That was all. Just in and out. Quick, at least. That was the plan. The house was dim, shadows stretching long across the hallway as the last of the evening light filtered through the blinds. I slipped further inside, my footsteps quieter now, my eyes adjusting to the gloom. I was halfway up the stairs when I heard it, the sound that made me freeze. A low sigh, deep and unguarded. Not Anna's, not her mother's, it came from behind. The half-open door of the study. I should have turned around right then. I should have walked back down those stairs, grabbed my book some other time, pretended I hadn't heard a thing. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. It pulls at you, whispers in your ear, convinces you that just one glance won't hurt, that you'll forget it as quickly as you see it. So I looked, and that's when everything began to unravel. Inside, sitting at the desk with a glass of whiskey in his hand, was Anna's father, Mr. Callahan. He looked different somehow. Not the steady, quiet man who used to grill burgers in the backyard or drive us to school in the mornings. He looked tired, worn down, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. His shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, his hair slightly mussed, his expression heavy like the weight of the world rested squarely on his shoulders when his eyes lifted and met mine. Time seemed to falter. "Oh," I stammered, gripping the doorframe. I didn't know you were here. Was just grabbing something I left upstairs." His gaze softened, the corner of his mouth twitching in what might have been a smile. "It's fine. You don't have to explain. You're practically family." Practically. Family. The word stung in ways I couldn't name. I stepped inside just a little, my nerves buzzing. "Are you okay?" I asked before I could stop myself. He let out a short laugh, low and rough. "That obvious, huh?" I nodded, unsure of what to say. This man who had always seemed unshakable suddenly looked breakable. And something in me shifted at the sight. We talked then in a way we never had before. About nothing at first. School, work, the weather. But the conversation deepened quickly, as if the walls of the study had closed in and made the air too heavy for small talk. He told me things I never expected. About the loneliness that had crept into his marriage, about feeling like a stranger in his own home, about the way he sometimes wondered if he had already lived the best parts of his life. I listened, really listened, and for the first time I didn't see him as my best friend's dad. I saw him as a man, man who carried silent burdens, who laughed less than he used to, who looked at his glass of whiskey as if it held answers instead of escape. The longer I stood there, the more I felt it, an invisible thread pulling me. "Closer, I shouldn't be saying all this," he murmured finally, rubbing a hand over his jaw. "It's okay," I said softly. "Sometimes you just need someone to listen." His eyes locked on mine then, and in them I saw gratitude, weariness. And something else. Something unspoken. Something I didn't dare name. My chest tightened, and I told myself I was imagining it. That I was reading too much into a moment born of loneliness and shadows. But when I turned to leave, he stopped. Me, just a hand on my arm, gentle, steady, lingering a beat too long. "Thank you," he said. His voice was low, almost a whisper. And that was it. That was the moment. Small, simple, easily forgettable, but it lodged itself deep inside me. I lay awake that night, replaying every second. The way his eyes had softened, the warmth of his hand on my arm, the weight of his words. I told myself it was nothing. I was overthinking, but deep down, I knew. Something had shifted. The days that followed only proved it. I found myself looking for excuses to go back, to check in on Anna, to drop off something, to linger in the kitchen a little longer. And every time, without fail, I'd catch glimpses of him reading in the living room, working in the garden, passing through the hallway with a distracted expression. And every time our eyes would meet, and that invisible thread between us grew tauter, stronger, harder to ignore. It wasn't love. Not yet. It wasn't even desire. Not in the way people imagine. It was something more dangerous, understanding. It's the kind of understanding that makes you feel seen in ways no one else has managed. One evening, weeks later, it happened again. I was helping Anna's mom clean up after dinner, and he walked in, sleeves rolled up, tie gone, looking more like the man I'd seen in the study that night. He caught my eye across the kitchen, and for a moment, everything else faded. The clatter of dishes, the hum of conversation, even Anna's laughter. Just him and me, locked in a glance that said everything we couldn't. It should have scared me. It should have made me pull back. But instead, it thrilled me. The secrecy, the danger. The fact that no one else could see what was happening right in front of them. From there, the tension only grew. Subtle things at first. A brush of hands as he passed me a plate. A lingering look across the dinner table. A half smile when no one else was watching. Each one a spark, and together they set fire to the space between us. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was risking not just my friendship with Anna, but everything. And yet, the more I tried to resist, the deeper I fell. The night everything changed. I hadn't even planned to be there. It was raining hard. Sheets of water blurring the streetlights as I pulled up outside their house. My car had stalled halfway home, and I knew Mr. Callahan would know what to do. He always did. He was the man you called when things fell apart. He opened the door almost instantly, as if he'd been waiting. The house was quiet, too quiet, and he explained that Anna and her mom were away for the weekend. It was just him. Just him. The storm outside raged on, thunder rolling across the sky. And suddenly the house felt smaller, the walls closer, the silence heavier. He made me tea, and we sat in the living room, the glow of a single lamp casting shadows across his face. We talked like we always did now. About life, about regrets, about the things people never say out loud. And somewhere between one confession and the next, the air shifted. His hand brushed mine, and this time, neither of us pulled away. I can still feel that moment, the way my heart raced. It's the way the storm outside seemed to fade into nothing, the way every part of me screamed that this was wrong even as I leaned in closer. What happened after is not something I can ever fully explain. It wasn't planned, it wasn't even spoken. It was a collision, a breaking point, an answer to questions neither of us had dared ask. And afterward, as the storm finally began to quiet outside, I knew there was no going back. Because once you cross that line, once you let yourself feel what you're not supposed to, you can never pretend it didn't happen. That was the night everything changed. And now, whenever I think about it, I remember that first evening, the one where it all began. The sound of his sigh behind the half-open door. The look in his eyes when he told me I was practically family. The way his hand lingered on my arm. It all started with that one small moment. One mistake. and nothing has been the same since.